presentation for topic traffic engineering study, sport speed study, volume study, and density. This for today your presentation. Okay, traffic engineering study, sport speed study, volume study, and density. Five group will be to present this topic, and I show you I show you to rubric presentation. Okay, this rubric presentation. Okay, attribute assessment form to communication skill for presentation. Today, your presentation based on scale aspect reading, writing, listening, speaking, and presentation tool. Okay, for presentation tool, able to use technology in presentation. For speaking to your communicate to clear, okay, discussion and group presentation. For listening, ask a relevant question and give response. I ask you question, you can give a response to respond yang positif lah. Okay, writing, communicate idea. Okay, manual, report, graph, and flowchart, calculation. Okay, reading for understand and interpret written information such as manual, graph, schedule, okay, calculation. Okay. This rubric for your presentation today. Any question sebelum kita start? Ada pertanyaan? Boleh faham? Ini rubrik yang saya akan beri untuk by group, not by individual. This by group. This your presentation by group and for mark by group. Okay, not individual. Okay, kita tak ada masalah. Kita hanya ada 20 minit untuk 5 kumpulan untuk hari ini. Jadi, siapa nak mulakan dahulu? Kumpulan mana? Saya tak terima pun senarai nama. Senarai nama seperti yang saya beri. Okay. Ada 5 kumpulan. Saya suruh isi kumpulan-kumpulan nama kumpulan tersebut. Saya tak terima. Okay, nanti your slide you upload in UKM Folio after your presentation. Okay, can start now for first group.
Group saya, Doktor.
Ya. Okay. You can show slide.
Slide je. Siapa mikir sih?
Assalamualaikum tu. Boleh tak?
Mesti ya. Nampak kat skrin?
Nampak. Assalamualaikum and very good morning to our beloved lecturer and also my fellow friends. We are from group 1. We present our case study. Firstly, for the sport speed study. Next slide. This is our group name and also this is introduction. For the literature review. Speed definition. Distance traveled by a vehicle during a unit of time and expressed in km per hour. Used to describe the quality of journey and the performance of road network in accommodating traffic demand. For the sport speed study definition, speed of traffic at one point or spot on a traffic way. Sport speed study purpose, establishing the speed zone of new or existing speed limit or enforcement practices to determine speeds at the problem location, to validate whether speeds are too high for traffic operation and control, to establish speed limits, to determine safe speed at curve, establishing speed trends at the local, state and national level to assess effectiveness of speed limit policy. Example of lab report in internet. We take it from the University Technology Mara. Next slide. For the objective is to establish the speed distribution of a traffic stream at a specific site, or called as basic speed data, to determine vehicle speed percentile through speed trend analysis, which are useful in related decision making. For the problem statement, overspeeding is one of the major causes of road accident in Malaysia. Speed limits are implemented to prevent overspeeding of vehicles, to determine whether the drivers of vehicle comply with the speed limit. Spot speed studies are carried out to determine the speed of vehicle operating on the road. For the apparatus, we have 4 apparatus, which is radar, gun meter, road measuring wheel, stopwatch, and also safety vest. For the methods in conducting spot speed study, there are 2 methods, which is manual method and also automatic method. For the manual method, we can see to observe the time required by a vehicle to cover a short distance to 2 reference points allocated at a roadway at a fixed distance apart. Observers start and stop a stopwatch as vehicle enters and leaves the intersection. For the automatic method, using reflected waves of very high frequency is directed from the radar speed meter to the moving vehicle. The wave which is directly measurable is proportional to the speed at which the vehicle is moving. The limitation of radar meter are the accuracy is varied. They are generally +1 until 2. The driver might be slowing down. This affected the result. A good measurement angle must be acquired. Multi-lane traffic are difficult to study. To continue, I will pass to my friend.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. So I will continue the presentation. So for the data analysis, next. Okay, for the data analysis, we can see that we have the experiment had observed for 100 cars, which get the lower bound of medium group L is 55, and cumulative number of frequency up to the lower bound of medium group is 23. Okay, the number of frequency in the median group FM is 6, and speed interval of the group C is 4. Sorry. Next. Okay, from the data given, data which is that have been get is, so we can calculate for the statistical analysis. So we can calculate arithmetic mean speed, the median speed, model speed from the frequency distribution curve, the standard deviation, standard error, and standard error with a confidence significant level of 95%. Next. Okay, this is a graphical analysis. So for figure 1 is a frequency distribution curve, and for figure 2 is frequency histogram. Next. Okay, this is a cumulative frequency distribution. Next. Okay, for the discussion of the result, so you can, the spot speed study has been performed by applying automatic method using radar gun to establish the speed distribution of a traffic stream and to find out the vehicle speed percentage at a specific site. The experiment was conducted at Multi-Lane Highway Puncak Perdana. This study involved 100 data of speed which was collected at the site including all types of vehicles. Okay, so during the study, the speed data in kilometer per hour was collected using radar gun that measured the speed of the vehicle by making sure of a phenomenon called Doppler shift when detect the wave motion of the vehicles. The range of the distance measure also was set up on the radar gun used. Next. Okay, from the data analysis, the arithmetic mean speed was calculated as S90 69.3 km per hour. The median speed was arranged in ascending order obtained in 73 km per hour. The model speed is 63 km per hour and the standard deviation obtained is 11.95 km per hour while the standard error is 1.2. From the cumulative frequency distribution graph, so we can conclude that the 98 percentile speed obtained is 97 km per hour, which is within 100 km per hour. This data used as a design speed in geometric design. Next, the 85 percentile speed obtained from the study is 78.2 km per hour in between 75 or 80 km per hour, which is speed that doesn't exceed by 85% of the driver and commonly utilized to determine the speed limit of the specified route. The 50th percentile speed from the graph is 57.5 km per hour, which is within 60 km per hour, which can be called as disturbance speed. Next. Okay, so what is contributing factor that affect the spot speed study is a driver itself. So the factor are gender, age, motive of the journey, and the distance of the trip and behavior. Other than that is type of vehicle. So we can see that vehicle with larger build and heavy like semi-truck tend to move slower than a small build and lightweight vehicle like motorcycle. Next, environment and roadways. If the road that is not level and straight or during rainy days, the driver will slow down their vehicle more than usual. Traffic congestion during peak hour, which causing the vehicle to slow down. So this is one of the contributing factor that affect the spot speed study. Next. Okay. So the conclusion that we can get from the experiment is, based on the data collect, it can be concluded that the highest frequency speed tabulated by using the radar gun is in the range of 60 to 64 km per hour with 23 vehicles. Okay, by referring to the cumulative frequency distribution curve, the spot speed at 98, 85, and 15 percentiles, which is 97 km per hour, 78.2 km per hour, and 57.5 km per hour, respectively, are determined. Okay, in addition, the average speed of vehicle obtained was 69.3 km per hour. There are a few characteristics that affect the spot speed studies, such as the physical, environmental, and psychological factor. In terms of the driver's age, gender, and emotion, besides that, the type of vehicles also can give different speed, such as the car probably faster than the lorry. The type of roadways, traffic volumes, and the environment can be the reason why we get different trend of data. Lastly, the spot speed study should be done on a straight line road and open section of rural. Next. Okay. That's all from our group. Thank you. Dr. Mike.
Any question from audience? Okay, jika tak ada question from audience, saya beri satu soalan berkenaan dengan based on your result sport speed study. Okay, sport speed study, and go to slide 17. Boleh tak pergi kepada slide 17? Boleh dengar tak?
Boleh Doktor, boleh. Doktor, yang volume dengan density tu hari ni juga kan?
Yelah sepatutnya.
Tapi dah 10 minit ke macam mana?
Sepatutnya semua kena cover lah. Untuk ni ada 10 orang. Okay, 10 orang ahli grup.
Boleh sambung tak? Boleh sambung tak?
Ada slide ke?
Ada slide bawah ni tak? Ada sampai slide 44.
Sambung lah, habiskan lah.
Okay, sorry Doktor, sorry. Sambung ya Doktor.
Okay.
Okay, next.
Slide. Belum, saya tak nampak slide. Saya tak nampak slide dan tak dengar suara. Masa berjalan. Ada 3 minit lagi. Okay, siapa present tu? Tak dengar suara. Okay, Amiro.
Okay.
Okay, boleh. Teruskan.
So, a case study at Polytechnic Seberang Perai Intersection, Jalan Pematang Pau. Next. So, the data was collected from Tuesday until Thursday at 7 to 9 in the morning and 5 to 7 p.m. Respectively. So, it recorded using manual vehicle counts using multi-gang telecounter. So, the data was presented by time-based distribution chart. Then it is interpreted to level of services (LOS) at each intersection using Sidra. Next. So the problem statement. So the traffic congestion is a major problem in the Jalan Pematang Pau. The condition become worse during peak hour when increasing number of vehicles contributed to the traffic congestion in the area. So there are many junctions at the Jalan Pematang Pau that connected to the main regions such as Kulim, Seberang Jaya and Bukit Mentajam. One of the main intersection in the Jalan Pematang Pau is located at Polytechnic Seberang Perai. The intersection serves for the main road as shown in a figure I will show later. So next. Observation. This is the traffic volume for 7 to 9 a.m. in the morning. So the highest is 7 to 7:30 until 7:45 a.m. So next, the traffic volume 5 p.m. until the 7 p.m. So the highest during 5 to 5:15 in the evening. The highest number of the passenger car units. So this table shows the existing phase time at the Polytechnic Lebuhraya intersection at A, B, C, and D, the main road. So there are green time, yellow time, all red time, and the phase time. So they are in the morning and the evening. Next. So this is the existing level of services at the Polytechnic Lebuhraya intersection at 4 main road, the south, east, north, and west, and the average intersection at 7 a.m. until 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. is the level of services F lah. Next. So so the highest number recorded from 7 a.m. to the 7:45 a.m. in the morning, and the highest number of vehicles in the evening is at 5 to 15 p.m. So level of services of all lines are level of services F, except lane 1 of the Jalan Pematang Pauh is level of services A. So the cause of the traffic congestion is long face time and high number of cars. Next.
You have 2 minutes. 2 minutes only.
Solution is by decreasing the face time. So we reduce the face time at 4 main roads. Next. After we reduce the face time, the level of services from before is a level of services F to a level of services C, which is way better. Next. Conclusion is the timing phase has significantly contributions in the reducing the traffic congestions. The shorter the period phase, it will enhance the LOS of the intersections. Right, and that's all for the volume studies.
Good morning, Doctor. The next part is density studies.
You have 1 minute only.
Okay. Density study. A case study of outflow traffic from the national capital Kuala Lumpur to the north, south, and east coast highway using flow, speed, and density relationship. The introduction is this study is focusing on the traffic flow on the 3 major traffic highway, which is KL Karak Highway, KL to Seremban Highway, and then the KL Ipoh Highway. The literature review on the theoretical development can be classified into 2 categories, which is the static and dynamic model. The speed density was proposed by Greenberg by using the logarithm function and by Underwood using exponential form. The background data was the result of the regression analysis presented in this study obtained from secondary data of annual average daily AATT for 63 locations in Peninsular Malaysia. The methodology is next slide. We're using the logarithm function. Flow is chosen as the dependent variable and speed as the independent variable because the variation in vehicle speed is responsible for the variation in flow. The next slide. The methodology is classical mathematical function. There are 4 models. The first is Greenfield model. The second is Greenberg model. The third is Underwood model. The fourth is Drake model. But for this case of study, they took the Greenberg model. Next slide. These are the road map for selected highway. The first one is the KL Seremban Highway. The second one, the B is KL to Karak Highway, and then the C is +1, the KL to Ipoh Highway. The beside of the table is estimation of density and speed. These are the results and the discussion from the case of study. Next. Conclusion. The classical model found most relevant and best fitted in terms of
Okay,
statistics.
thank you, Savinison.
Okay.
Thank you for your present group. Okay, my question, my question, you have enough time. Based on sports speed study, how your conclusion from the result sports speed study? What is conclusion? Based on the result sports speed study, based on graphs 85 percentile, 50 percentile, what is conclusion from your group? Okay, so, siapa pun boleh menjawab. Masa berjalan, saya bagi 2 minit je. Orang lain nak present. Kalau tak ada, saya kosongkan markah untuk bahagian menjawab. Okay, 1 minit je.
Doctor, sorry, Doctor. Boleh repeat question, Doctor?
Okay, based on kepada your sports speed study, beri kesimpulan, conclusion daripada result sports speed study. Okay, dua bahasa dah saya beri tu. English pun saya bagi, bahasa Melayu pun saya bagi. Tak boleh faham lagi?
Doctor, the sports speed study dia is affected by the type of roadways, traffic volume and the environmental. So sebab yang tiga ni yang sports speed study akan effect dia punya result.
Okay, efek tu macam mana saya nak tahu? Macam mana you kaitkan dengan persentai? Ada 3 persentai tadi, 85%, 50%. Macam mana you nak kaitkan dengan result tersebut? Kenapa dalam graf tu you ambil 3 keadaan tersebut? Ini 10 orang ni yang buat kajian. Seorang je menjawab.
Yang kita ambil 3 percentile tu, yang first tu yang highest percentile, second one is the middle one and the third one is the lowest one.
Ya, apa kegunaan dia? Why you take this 3 percentile? Apa kegunaan dia?
Doktor, untuk 98 percentile kita use data ini untuk design speed in geometric design. Untuk 85th percentile kita guna untuk determine the speed limit of that specified road. Untuk 15 percentile dia panggil untuk disturbance speed.
Bukan lower tak, kita ambil apa ni, minimize, maximize. 3 perkataan je saya nak tahu. Maximize, minimize dan pertengahan. Hak laju yang diambil paling bawah pada 50% percentile. Kemudian yang paling atas 100% dan yang pertengahan tu 85%. Tu je jawapan dia saya nak tahu. Okay, maknanya you tahu apa yang digunakan untuk sports speed study, conclusion dia. Okay, thank you for first group.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, next group, second group. Okay, second group. Masa berjalan. Okay, you can start now.
Good morning, lecturer and my beloved friends. Hello. Okay, we are from group 2 and we would like to present about traffic engineering studies, sports speed studies, volume studies and density. And these are my group members. Next slide. Okay, our case study is Kudai Pontian Highway. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is our table of contents which contains introduction, literature review, problem statements, analysis and solutions, observations and conclusions. Okay, what is spot speed? Spot speed is a vehicle instantaneous speed at a given location. Spot speed also can be used for the design of road geometry such as horizontal and vertical curves, and also super high heights speed data and are necessary for positioning and signs of signs, signals, safe speed and the measurement of speed zones. While a spot speed study also is carried out by recording the speeds of a sample of vehicles at a specific location. The speed of vehicle is defined as the rate of movement of the vehicle m per hour or kilometer per hour.
Okay, the method to determine spot speed, which is through tree method. You can use radar meter method or pneumatic road tube method or stopwatch. Next slide. Okay, the function of spot speed studies. First of all is to monitor the speed trends, then establishing traffic operation and control the parameters, then establishing highway design elements, evaluating highway capacity, accessing highway safety, and also measuring effectiveness of changes. Okay, what is traffic volume and density? The term traffic volume study can also be referred to as a traffic flow survey or simply a survey or traffic flows. The procedure is defined as determining mainly traffic volumes moving on the roads at a certain section during a certain period. The traffic density refers to the average number of vehicles that occupy 1 mile or 1 kilometer of a road space expressed in vehicles per mile or per kilometer. Okay, the next, the method of conducting volume counts, which can be done by two methods, which is manual method or automatic method. First of all, manual method, we have two methods, which is direct method, indirect method. For direct method, we use encounter, and for indirect method, we use video cameras. While for the automatic methods, there are also two methods, such as contact system and contactless system. For contact system, we use pneumatic road tube method and motion sensor. While for contactless system, we use ultrasound, light beam, or other infrared. Okay, next is the literature review, which is a spot speed study is also made by measuring the individual speeds of a sample of the vehicles passing a given point spot on a street or highway. These individual speeds are also used to estimate the speed distribution of the entire traffic stream at that location under the conditions prevailing at the time of the study. This is to determine the level of service for the streets, document congestion, and quantify the need for street improvements, and also for a variety of purposes, and differ in the level of detail and also data collected. While the traffic volume is an important measure of magnitude, composition, and time and route distribution of the volume. Volume is by definition the total number of vehicles that pass over a given point or a section of a lane or roadway during a given time interval.
Next is a problem statement. Firstly is the distribution of speed of entire traffic streams affected by type of vehicles and selected peak period. Thus, the volume of the traffic may not appropriate to compare with other important factors such as different peak period, area of roadway, and traffic conditions. The movement of traffic condition relates time, convenience, and distribution of speed at a specific location. Secondly is it has been observed that bad weather has affecting traffic capacity, thus directly affecting economic losses due to delays, traffic accident, congestions, and traffic volume. This case study projected in determining the effect of weather on traffic flows. Next. Analysis and solution spot speed study. Okay, for the target time is for the peak flow analysis. Speeds are measured during the peak period. For the target vehicles, which is basically is car, two-wheelers, buses, utilities, trucks, and multi-axle trucks. Next is, this is the table 2 shows that the data obtained, which is for a spot speed study at a selected location before Shell case station, a sample size of at least 50 and 100 vehicles is usually obtained. Traffic counts during a Monday morning or a Friday peak period may show exceptionally high volumes are not normally used in the analysis. Counts are usually conducted on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Spot speed data are gathered using one of the three methods, which is firstly stopwatch method, second radar meter method, three pneumatic root tube method, and as we know, the stopwatch method is the least expensive and the least accurate of the method. Okay, next. This is the table 3, which is the percentage and analysis of spot speed data. Next. Okay, for the data collected on the Malaysia Federal Routes 5, Skudai, and Pontian Highway, the figures Figure 6, frequency distributions, which is the frequency versus vehicle speeds, kilometer per hour. For the figure 7, shows that the hour traffic variations, which is the volume vehicle per hour versus time in minutes. Okay, next. Based on the graph above, firstly, we know that the maximum speed on the road is equal to 90. The drivers almost do not exceed this speed. It was corroborated that the vehicles were moved with the range of the speed from 30 to 90 km per hour. The most part of the vehicles move with the average speed 60 km per hour until 140 vehicle per hour UK relationship. Okay, for third one is during 1 hour, the number of vehicle past observation point is 2080. That also is equal to the 2697.5 passenger car unit. The cars and taxis is the most appearing type of vehicles, which is 1,333 vehicle per hour. Some of the results can have natural error, that is result of the purposely decreasing of speed, because observation group can be easily detected by drivers from the long distance. This particular area does not contain any signboard about speed limit, and some of the drivers over exceed the speed limit, which is 100 km per hour. So the data gained through the method used, which is mean speed, 85 percentile speed, 95 percentile speed, median, which is 50 percentile speed, mode, speed variance, and pace, 10 mile per hour increment. Okay, next.
For the next studies is about volume and density. We study about highway capacity prediction in adverse weather. So this study is conducted and located from Skudai Pontian Highway in month of June 2010, and it is two-way, two-lane principal highway that connected the southern state of Johor Bahru to the northern part of the Malaysia Peninsula. So this study, we use the pneumatic method. We put two pneumatic tube laid in a parallel 1 meter apart across either lane and were connected to an automatic counter. So the rainfall data used for this study was supplied by the Department of the Irrigation and Drainage of Malaysia from a rain gauge station located 750 meters from the site. So the wet data is day for which rainfall event were recorded, and dry data when there is no rainfall event. So next. So this is a plot for the speed density, speed volume, and the volume density. So all these figures clearly show the state of a traffic under both dry and wet condition. So the plot show a contraction of a macroscopic parameter of speed, volume, and density in wet condition. This happened because the side distance reduction caused by clouding the view of the driver in rain induced the driver to reduce speed. So next. Okay, this table 1 show the statically properties of speed for the two flow condition. So based on the tables, we can see that a mean speed drop of 3.52% was recorded between dry and wet flow condition. So the empirical data is modeled using the flow density relation of the fundamental diagram. So next. Slide. Okay. Figure 4 show the speed density model for both dry and wet conditions. So from the figure 4, you can see the capacity prediction is useful in highway operation. So it will enable road network operator to see the traffic flow scenario that will emerge under capacity flow. So this clearly there is a speed drop with the corresponding increase in density and revealed by comparison of the two models. From the figure 5, this is the best the best fit for a flow density model for both dry and wet condition. So we can see the free flow speed drop from 67.814 kilometer per hour in dry weather to 65.502 kilometer per hour in wet weather. So the mean speed and densities observed in both dry and wet condition are 64 km per hour and 60.48 kilometer per hour respectively. So next. Okay, this is table to show the summarize for the prediction traffic state parameter at capacity. So as we can see at the dry condition, the traffic speed at a critical density is 8.67 km per hour. The critical density is predicted to be 186.82 vehicle per kilometer, and the flow rate of capacity is 3,155.39 vehicle per hour per lane. While at the wet condition, the traffic speed at critical density is 17.12 kilometer per hour. Critical density 111.97 vehicle per kilometer, and for the volume capacity is 1,831.75 vehicle per hour per lane. So it can be seen that the traffic flow speed in wet weather is higher than the speed in dry weather at capacity. So next slide.
You have 3 minutes.
So from the observation, based on all the study, based on all the result, there is greater number of high-speed vehicles surpassing the post speed limit in dry weather than in wet weather. So the post speed limit that we use in this study is 60 km per hour. So drivers are more likely to change in weather condition than their counterpart traveling within the speed limit. So the relationship between speed and volume follow a same trend as a speed density plot. So higher proportion of vehicle with speed above the post speed limit are observed in dry weather and wet weather. So this is because in wet weather vehicle are bunches, while at the dry weather the pattern of vehicle are dispersed. Next slide. So the next. So on the overall observation, the driver are forced to lower their speed to feel safe, and a driver travelling with large gaps between leading and lagging vehicles does not respond to change in weather condition. Instead, the driver continue until he catch up with a slower driver or clouding effect take place. Okay, number 2, in this case of a driver travelling with a small headway, less than 2 seconds, between leading and lagging vehicle, a vehicle could take place depending on the behavior of the leading vehicle. So density of the rain, traffic flow rates, and opportunities for overtaking. And number 4, and the last observation is it can be seen from the study the traffic flow speed in wet weather is higher than the speed in dry weather at capacity. So this is explained by beviewing the rainfall does not act as a physical barrier to flow, thus higher speed attainable commensurate with the safety level in adverse weather. So next slide.
In conclusion, the rain has an effect on traffic flow and speed. The raindrops create a clouding effect in the rain, which reduce the speed of the rain. Sight distance is reduced due to the clouding effect. As a result, car slows down and traffic volume decrease.
Okay, thank you. Masa dah
Okay,
habis.
thank you.
Okay, my question based on a result, speed density. Okay, speed density. Based on result speed density model, can your group explain what is mean R square? Boleh terangkan apa maksud R square? Apa ni? R kuasa 2. Banyak tadi your graph show R square. Boleh tak salah seorang daripada grup awak menerangkan what is mean R square? Elaborate for R square. ataupun explain for R square. Okay, slide 21 tu ada R square. 21 atas lagi. Graf tadi lah. This one. Apa maksud R square ni? Sebab ni your case study. Mesti you tahu apa itu R square. Okay, ada 1 minit lagi.
R square.
Saya bagi maksud dia, penerangan dia R square. Ada jawapan? 1 minit lagi, tinggal 9:15. Any answer, your group?
R square is a statistical measure of how close the data are to the fitted regression line, sir.
Arrangement dia, range dia. Biasa berapa range dia, R square? Compare lah figure 4 dengan figure 5. How you group conclude figure 4, figure 5? Okay, this figure. Figure 4, figure 5. 4, 5 tadi. In this one. Okay, this one R square dia 0.106 and figure 5 R square 0.958. What is your conclusion from this result?
The range is from 0 to 1, sir.
Yes, okay, sepatutnya you tahulah bila 0.5 ke atas dia boleh predict dengan betul. Okay, kalau ikut pada teori statistik, bila 0.5 ke bawah prediction your graph ni tidak tepat lah. Okay, 0.95 tu adalah yang terbaik dan yang paling baik adalah 1, menghampiri 1. Itu yang jawapan dia. Okay, thank you for your presentation, group 2 and next group 3.
Thank you, Doctor.
Good morning, everyone. We are from Group 3. So today we are going to present for the traffic engineering studies, which are spot speed studies and volume and density studies. And these are our group members. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah. So traffic engineering uses engineering methods and techniques to achieve the safe and time-efficient movement of people and goods on roadways. The three main parameters of traffic flow are speed, volume, and also density. So speed is the rate of movement of the vehicle, which is the distance traveled per unit time taken. The spot speed, meaning that the instantaneous speed of a vehicle passing a point on the roadway, and the data represent the speed characteristic of vehicles passing the site. So the time of day for conducting the study is depending on the purpose of the study, and the duration of the study is at least 1 hour, and the sample size is at least 30 vehicles. Next slide.
Next is literature review. A spot speed study located opposite to Dataran Cendekiawan UITM bus stop in Shah Alam. The objective of this study is to get traffic characteristics from the Dataran Cendekiawan UITM bus stop, include to establish the speed distribution of a traffic stream at a specific site and to determine vehicle speed percentage via speed trend analysis, which are useful in speed-related decision-making. The key point of measurement is using radar gun and manual determination by recording the speed of a sample vehicle at a specific location. The location that choose is the road opposite to Dataran Cendekiawan bus stop in UITM Shah Alam. The duration of the spot speed study was an hour,
There are several factors affecting the spot speed study at the location. For example, driver and vehicles factor. Next.
So the problem statement for the spot speed is an important transportation concern because it relates to people's safety, times and comfort. Therefore, the information collected in spot speed study are used to determine whether drivers comply with the speed limit and the speed distribution of vehicle operating on the road.
Okay, so for the analysis, the way to count for the spot speed data is through manual and automatic. So if manual is through stopwatch and while automatic is using radar gun. Okay. So this is the spot speed data using manually, which is stopwatch. So we got total observation of 78 vehicles. Then we will divide into speed group into 6 speed group. Okay, next. Next, please. Okay, so this is another data from the radar gun. The same way using by the stopwatch. Next. Okay, so through the data given, we are going to operate a new frequency distribution curve, frequency histogram, and cumulative frequency distribution for both manually and automatically. Okay, next. Okay, so for the solutions, first of solutions that can conquer this problem is through intelligent speed adaptation, which is an in-vehicle system that uses information on the position of the vehicle in a network in relation to the speed limit enforced at that particular location. So for the second solution, which is the speed limiters, which conclude by using the GPS, and the first is GPS work out where the car is and sends the local speed limit to the dashboard. The second, the car also uses a sign recognition camera to assess the speed limit. Then after that, car uses the information to help driver to keep the vehicle below the speed limit so that driver can override the system by pushing the accelerator. Okay, next.
From the observation, I compare the result by using two methods. We can see that the result by using radar gun and manual calculation will slightly different. Next. The factors that affecting the spot speed study at that location is driver factor. Some driver will slow down the vehicles when passing through that road. This is because they are concerned with the safety of the student that follows the second one is vehicle factors. There are buses that will park in front of the bus stop, so the car and motorcycles that pass through the road will slow down. The last one is traffic volume. During the peak hour, the increasing number of vehicles will cause traffic congestion and make the vehicles slow down. Next.
So as a conclusion, we can know that the spot speed studies are used to determine the speed distribution of a traffic streams at a specific location, and we also can determine the vehicle speed percentile via the speed trend analysis. So by determining the speed at the 15, 85, and 98 percentile from the cumulative frequency distribution graph, we are able to know that the effectiveness of the new or existing speed limits for enforcement practices. So we can know that the 15 percentile is also can be called as a disturbance speed, where it means the speed where the driver indicates slowness when approaching congestion situation. While secondly, the 85 percentile, which is called as a speed limit, and the lastly 98 percentile is called as a design speed, which it means the maximum safe speed that can be maintained over a specific section of the highway when traffic and the road conditions are very favorable in daytime. So finally, we can undergo this investigation to determine the high occurrence accident location at which speed is suspected to be the main cause.
So next, we're going to present for volume and density studies. Next. So traffic volume means that the number of vehicles crossing a section of road per unit time at any selection period. And the time period varies from as little as 5 minutes to as much as year, depending on the anticipated use of the data for the study. And volume study traffic are usually conducted when certain volume characteristics are needed, such as average annual daily traffic, average daily traffic, peak hour volume, vehicle classification, vehicle miles of travel. Next. So density means that the number of vehicles present on a given length of roadway, and the purpose of the study is to describe the road performance. Headway and spacing are microscopic measures of flow as they apply to pairs of vehicles in the traffic stream. And high densities indicate that individual vehicles are very close together and vice versa. Next.
Next is literature review. This literature review will concentrate on the related topic of volume studies. Traffic density has been thought to be affected by traffic volume and traffic velocity. The study focused on the effects of both factors on traffic density along the street of a T-junction in UITM from 1:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. with various vehicles passing by. The study was carried out in order to collect traffic data, which is used to calculate the volume of traffic moving on the road passing a given point on a lane during a given time period. According to Jamal, 2017, traffic volume studies are methods of determining the volume of traffic moving on a road at a specific junction in a specific time. Next.
The problem statement for the volume density is data on traffic volume is important for defining the number of vehicles and their density of an hour, month, and year basis. Traffic volume data is often used in capacity analysis for straight road section or intersection. Traffic volume study is conducted to determine the volume, classification, and directional movement of road with vehicle moving on the road at specific period.
Next, I'm going to talk about the analysis and solution about the research studies. For the method of it is the location. At first, the location of the T-junction were chosen, and each is assigned from D1 to D5. Next, their group member was assigned to calculate the frequency of vehicle passed by the T-junction according to their types of vehicle. The data is recorded in counter meter application. Then the data was taken for 30 minutes from 1:30 to 2 p.m. and each data taken specifically for 5 minutes interval. And data analysis of the data was collected. Next. And this is the table from the data analysis. Next. From this, the total vehicles based on direction and time from D1 to D6, and the table of analysis traffic volumes based on types of vehicle. Next. After some calculation, this pie chart, the traffic composition is produced, and total vehicle versus time, and also the total vehicle of the white line graph of total vehicle versus time for all direction. Next. The purposes of this research is traffic data are required for design purposes and in order to design the structural and geometric design, as the geometric design is focused on peak hour volume in order to prevent congestion. Traffic data is also used for planning purposes, where reliable information on the volume of traffic on the roads is essential for the planning of both route maintenance and improvement policies. Next, it also helps with traffic control purposes, where flow information is important for the design of traffic signals to enhance the efficiency of the junction. Next.
Back from our observation, we can see that based on the data, table 9 indicates the number of vehicles going in each direction, where the junction has a total of 6 directions as shown in Appendix 1. And then the dominant type of vehicle is personalized vehicles, as shown in Table 8, such as small and medium vehicles for a total of 486 cars. This is due to it being a useful and convenient transport. And then from Table 9, Direction 3 recorded as the highest number of vehicles traveled. And this indicates that there are more vehicles traveled in the main road compared to others. And finally, the analysis of traffic volumes in the passenger car unit per hour had been obtained in Table 10. Thus, the total of traffic volume at the location is 2,438 passenger car units per hour. Next.
So to conclude,
there have three objectives has been achieved. Firstly, one, data collection of a vehicle composition and traffic flow stream for 30 minutes was determined. Secondly, data were represented in graphical form, which are line graph and pie chart in order to compare the number of vehicles passing through the junction with respect of time. Lastly, the statistical calculation of the traffic volume measures, namely hourly volume of traffic, has also been determined. Next. So the statistical calculation of traffical volume measures, namely hourly volume of traffic. So according to the Association of Malaysia Road Engineering, Arahan Teknik Jalan 8/86A Guide on Geometric Design of Roads were used to calculate the number of vehicles in vehicle per hour and traffic volume in passenger car unit per hour. Data were used for geometric design of road to prevent congestion. So these data were used to improvise the road sections, such as widening the road and install a traffic control system to ensure smooth traffic flow in all directions when the traffic volume at a certain period was too high and having a possibility of congestion. Next. So secondly, data were represented in graphical form, which are line graph and pie chart in order to compare the number of vehicles passing through the junction. So from a graphical analysis, the traffic flow trend and movement pattern were observed. And the trend and pattern were at a peak during 1:20 p.m. to 1:25 p.m., which we realized that the people are driving out for lunch and a dismissal of school sections. So thirdly, the data collection of vehicle composition in traffic flow stream for 30 minutes was determined. So the most dominant vehicles passing through the junction was small goods vehicles, whereas the least dominant were buses. Includes the populations prefer using the personalized car over public transport. Next. So for limitation, there's a limitation for this report. The study may not be conducted during the public transport operation hours. It also means that it's a business hour. And secondly, the overall traffic volume study on the junction cannot be analyzed in full perspective. And the data from average daily traffic, as known as ADT, has a crucial effects to the result on that particular junction. Next.
So that's all from our group. Thank you.
Then, okay, thank you for group 3. For my question, you go to slide spot speed study for Radagang. Okay, go to slide spot speed study, Radagang. Okay, this one. Can group display how to get every session for mean speed, frequency, percentage or frequency? Can group explain how to calculate every section?
Okay, so the speed group we divide into 8 group. Then the mean speed is through the after this slide, through the observation we can get the mean speed for every group. The frequency is the number of car passing, the number of car achieving this speed.
How you calculate to boleh dapatkan 17? Oh, this one. Okay, macam mana you calculate tu dapat 17 mean speed? Boleh bagi perangan.
15 plus 19 divided by 2.
Okay, divide by 2. Okay. Frequency? F?
Frequency is the number of vehicle achieving this speed, no?
2.
So total we got 78. Then frequency of percentage of frequency is using, for example, for speed group 15 to 19, the frequency is 2 vehicles. So we
ada calculation tak? Contoh calculation dia.
they just 2 divide by 78 and times 100%. Then you get the
calculation dia boleh tunjuk.
I think there's no calculation for this because just get the percentage for the frequency. Just for example, for the speed group 15 to 19, from the frequency 2, we just got 2 divide from the total frequency 78, then times with 100%. Then we get 2.6 for the percentage of frequency. Okay, so cumulative frequency just total up. Then frequency FV is frequency times the mean speed, and V square for the mean speed square. Then FV square is frequency times the mean speed square.
V square 7+. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Totally 78987 for FV2. Okay, FV kuasa 2. Okay, okay, semua saya nak apa untuk yang lain-lain juga harus ketahui macam mana calculation this table and nak dapatkan peserta tadi, masing-masing kena tahulah. Okay, ini kemungkinan akan keluar sebagai final exam ataupun sebagai mid exam nanti. Okay. Macam mana nak calculation semua ni kena ketahuilah bila saya bagi satu result mentah, contohnya daripada radagam. Okay, result setiap kenderaan tersebut. Tak silap saya dalam pengangkutan selepas pun dah keluar soalan tu. Okay. Jadi semesta ni kena semua pelajar tahulah macam mana nak calculate this table and result tadi. Okay, thank you very much for group 3 and next group 4.
Testing.
Okay, continues.
Okay. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all. So we are from group number 4, and today we would like to present our presentation, which is traffic engineering studies. So for the first one is I'm going to explain about sport speed studies. Okay, for the introduction. Speed is an important transportation consideration because it relates to safety, time, comfort, convenience, and economics. Sport speed studies are used to determine the speed distribution of a traffic stream at a specific location. The data gathered in sport speed studies are used to determine vehicle speed percentiles, which are useful in making many speed-related decisions. Sport speed data have a number of safety applications. For a sport speed study at selected location, a sample size of at least 30 and preferably more vehicles. Traffic counts during the peak period may show exceptionally high volumes and are not normally used in the analysis. So therefore, counts are usually conducted on the other times. Spot speed data are gathered using one of three methods, which is stopwatch method, radar method, or pneumatic road tube method. So these methods are described in this chapter in order from least expensive to most expensive. The stopwatch method is the least expensive and least accurate for the methods. Next. Okay, for the literature review, the case studies is located at Batang Berjuntai area in the state of Selangor in Malaysia. So the studies conducted in 21st February of 2012. The study was conducted by Puan Sharifah Ainum.
Batang Berjuntai telah ditukar nama.
Yes, Bersekutu. Okay. Sorry. The observer used stopwatch method to gather the data. So literature suggests that speed data be collected for a minimum of 1 hour and observe at least 30 vehicles. However, depending upon the type of technology used to complete the study and the complexity of the study, sample sizes and durations that can often include thousands of vehicles over multiple days. Once the plan is completed, the study can be carried out and the data can be evaluated as outlined in the steps below. The research used Karin Thomas R. The title is Introduction to Traffic Engineering, a manual for data collection and analysis. Author is Brooks/Cole. Pacific Group published on 2001 as reference for her studies. So the observer has stated a few procedures during this spot speed test at the location. Next. Next is problem statements. So spot speed studies are vital for measuring different variables and factors needed in the design and analysis of the highway system. Speed studies aid in the decision-making processes and in before and after studies to assess the effectiveness of roadway modifications. Also, speed observations help determine whether the roadway is in need of new law enforcement, realignment, or reconstructions. Spot speed data have a number of safety applications, including the following: determining existing traffic operation and evaluation of traffic control devices, establishing roadway design elements, and measuring effectiveness of traffic control devices or traffic programs. The importance of such speed data is to be collected properly and presented effectively, so therefore required to select section of a road outside the university campus and away from close intersection and unusual traffic activities. Information about the selected section of the road is gathered, such as section speed, number of lanes, and general description of location. So the procedures, there are 5. Okay, next. So there are 5 procedures, which is you can see from this one. And next. So for the first step is organized study plan. So this initial step is vital to identify the reason for conducting the study and nature of the problem to be evaluated. So the timing of the study should be consistent with the reason for conducting the study. For example, if the study is being completed to determine if speed complaints are valid during the evening rush hour, so then the study should be completed during the evening rush hour. So literature suggests that the speed data can be collected for a minimum of 1 hour and observe at least 30 vehicles. Okay, once the plan is completed, the study can be carried out and the data can be evaluated as outlined in the steps below. Next. For the second step is stopwatch method. So the stopwatch method can be used to successfully complete a spot speed study using a small sample size taken over a relatively short period of time. This method is a quick and inexpensive method for collecting speed data. Next. So the third step is location selection and collect field data. So the specific location of the study should be chosen carefully so that recorded speeds reflect how vehicles typically travel along unimpeded sections of the road under free flow conditions. For the fourth step, speed data reduction analysis. After the study is completed and the data have been tabulated, the following steps may be considered as part of a typical data analysis. So specifically, the idea would be to identify key parameters associated with roadway speeds, which may include any of all the following. So we have a mean speed, 85th percentile speed, 95th percentile speed, median, mode, speed variance, and pace. Next. So the fifth step is interpret and report findings. Using the descriptive speed characteristic determined in step 4, it is likely that there is now sufficient data to answer the primary questions for which the spot speed study was originally initiated. Okay, now we are moving to analysis and solutions to the problem. Okay, as you can see here, we got the road data, so which means that there are 30 sample size of vehicles, and from the table we can see that the minimum speed is 56 km per hour and the maximum speed is 112 km per hour. So the speed range we can calculate it by minus max speed between and mean speed, so we get 56 km per hour. As you can see here, we transfer the raw data to be more specified, and as we can see that we have a speed class, which is we have 10 speed class. Okay, so we can see the class value, the class frequency, and all this percentage in class, and we also have the cumulative frequency percentage, and we are going to transfer the data to be histogram and cumulative percentage chart, as you can see from the next slide. Okay, these are the histogram of observed vehicle speed and cumulative frequency chart. For the histogram of observed vehicle speed, we can see that the highest is the 87.5 speed kilometer per hour, which consists of 5 frequencies and the cumulative frequency chart. Next. Okay, these are observation. For observation, these are the layout map for the Bersekutu that that the experiment is conducted by stopwatch using stopwatch method. Next. Okay, for discussion. So a typical layout for conducting a spot speed study using a stopwatch. When selecting a location and layout, care must be exercised so that the observer can clearly see any vertical reference post. The observer should be positioned higher than the study area and be looking down. The position could be on a bridge or a roadway bake slope. The observer should use reference points to aid in the collecting or the elapsed time it takes a vehicle to travel to the study area. An accurate sketch of the site should be documented, including number of lanes, position of observer, and description of reference points. Okay, for the suggestions that maybe can we counter for the next time we use this method is, first one is to use more advanced apparatus than the stopwatch and the meter, such as the radar gun, so it has been easier. So for the second one is all data must taken at the same time. It would be different in number of vehicle on the road if one's in peak hours and one's in normal. So all data must taken at the same day. It would be different in number of vehicle on the road if one's is weekend and in weekdays. And lastly, the data must be taken at the same condition of weather. Example, during rainy day, the number of vehicle or speed of vehicle will decrease compared to sunny day. The conclusion is, field traffic studies strengthen the traffic theories presented in the classroom. Spot speed studies and intersection analysis and signal assessment help students gain the following benefits. Spot speed studies and intersection analysis and signal assessment field study implementations, familiarity with the standard procedures and standard forms, data presentation techniques, data analysis, field experience and application group of work, professional presentation skill, interpretation of result, and professional software implementation. Our future plans are to develop an additional 3-hour laboratory to accompany the transportation engineering class, so that the laboratory will include additional studies and projects that will embrace the transportation material taught in the classroom environment. That's all for our spot speed studies.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and good morning. I'm going to talk about the volume studies. Next. So for the introduction, traffic volume studies are conducted to collect data on the number of vehicles and or pedestrians that pass a point on highway facility during a specific time period. This time period varies from as little as 15 minutes to as much as a year depending on the anticipated use of the data. The data collected also may be put into subclasses which may include directional movement, occupancy rate, vehicle classification, and pedestrian age. Traffic volume studies are usually conducted when certain volume characteristics are needed, some of which follows. First, average annual daily traffic. Second is the average daily traffic. The third is peak hour volume. Fourth, vehicle classification. The fifth is vehicle miles of travel. There are several methods of conduction volume counts, which are the manual method and the automatic method. Next. So the case studies is located at UPM Serdang campus main access in the state of Selangor in Malaysia. The studies conducted in 12th January 2019. The studies was conducted by Zakia Ponrahuno, Nur Ain, Muhammad Isa, Ahmad Zaharin, Aris, and Rostaharun. The purpose of this paper is to highlight the traffic volume and level of service of the main access, the UPM Serdang campus. A traffic survey was conducted over 3 weekdays during an active semester to understand the traffic flow pattern. Next. Problem statements. The high concentration of people and traffic movement in UPM is typical due to the growth of the campus population and the university physical development. UPM Serdang, as one of the leading higher learning institution in Malaysia, has unique transportation needs and a comprehensive transportation plan to achieve greater sustainable campus mobility. the bumper of vehicles that have travelled across the campus, and consequently their impact on the environment can be related to several determining factors. These factors include the first one is existing road infrastructure capacity, the quality of transportation services and facilities provision on campus, geographical setting of campus living and motor vehicle uses, and low participation of sustainable transportation programs such as bus services. Hence, a study on road capacity is necessary as the improvement of road service is important to fulfill the travel needs and reducing the impact of vehicle use to the environment setting of campuses. Next. Discussion. This traffic flow finding of the UPM Serdang campus may differ from other university campus, particularly in Malaysia. According to the geographical setting of the campus, road and traffic system design, total campus population and other factors such as the location of nearby public transportation services and in-campus residential policy. The size of the campus, building layout and master plan also significantly contribute to the traffic flow and level of service of the road. Next. Okay, so this is the result and calculation. This table is show the hourly traffic volume at 5 main gate. So for the table 1, it show the hourly traffic volume at gate 1. For the table 2, it show at gate 2, and the table 3 is show that at the gate 3. Next. And this one is table 4 show at gate 9 and table 5 shows at the main road Persiaran University 1. Okay, next. Okay, so Yusuf will continue the presentation.
And I will continue. And this is the cumulative 18-hour count of traffic flow over 3 weekdays, which is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So as we can see here, gate 2 record the highest vehicle going out because there's only one way, which is vehicle can only go out from the campus. And gate 3 record the highest vehicle going in. And Persiaran University, of course, because the road is quite big and there's many vehicle passing by the road. And then this is the cumulative 18-hour count of PCU, which is passenger car unit over 3 weekdays. So there's the data, and the value of PCU equivalent for urban roads is taken as one for car or taxi or four-wheelers, 0.75 for motorcycle, two-wheelers, 3 for bus and lorry, and 0.2 for bicycle. And then this is the table shows how many vehicle per 2 hours that go vehicle and PCU that flow that go in and out from the campus main gate. So next is this is a map for UPM. As you can see from the yellow indicator here, this is the main gate that the study is conducted, and this is the main road, right? And for discussion, for this case study, they took the amount of vehicle at 5 main gate, and as per data collected, we can see around 7,581 number of vehicle enter the university at gate 3, which is the gate near to the CIMB, which is the highest compared to other gates. Next, not many vehicles use gate 1 to enter university, which is only 4,981. And also not many people use the main road to exit the university, which is only 4,667. The traffic composition of the vehicle arriving and leaving the campus comprise cars at 50 to 70%, which is the majority, followed by motorcycle, which is from 20% to 40%, buses, and bicycle. from all main access. And the suggestion that we can provide for this volume study to improve the result is use automatic method instead of manual method to get more accurate data, and take the data from the same weather. For an example, take the data during the rainy days so that we can see how it can affect the number of vehicle. And as a conclusion, we can see that the peak hour of entering the university is at 7 to 9 a.m., which is understandable because it is time where the lecturer, staff, and even student enter the university for morning work or classes. In the evening, the peak hour, which is from 4 to 6 p.m., where all the lecturer, staff, and student leave the university. And overall, the highest mode of transport is car, followed by motorcycle and bus. The residential area and institutional zones that located nearby also contribute to the daily traffic flow around the campus access road. As we can see from the data, there are many cars passing by the main access, which is the gate 1. And this is for our reference, and I think that's all from us.
Okay, thank you for Group 4, your presentation. Okay, go to slide PCU table, passenger car unit table. Okay, bawah lagi. PCU ke. Okay, based on this result, macam mana you boleh buat kesimpulan, conclusion from this result for PCU passenger car unit? Bermula you collect data daripada data mentah di beberapa cabang tadi lah, di persimpangan. Okay, daripada situ macam mana you boleh conclusionkan dia sebagai you dapatlah sekali PCU, passenger car unit. Okay, any group can answer this question? Okay, 10 orang ni, tak ada yang menjawab.
Wait.
Sepatutnya you dah atur dah siapa-siapa yang nak menjawab, siapa yang dah present. 10 orang tu kena atur lah.
So what we can conclude is that PCU is higher because it counts, as we can see, PCU 1 for car, 1.75 for motorcycle, and 3 for bus. So we can see that maybe because there is no data on how much the actual vehicle, like how many car, how many bus. So we can see that the mostly contributed to the traffic flow is car, motorcycle, and bus. So that's why the number is a bit higher for the PCU because buses counts for 3 vehicle.
Okay, situ saya tahulah maknanya kita based on kepada PCU. PCU tu passenger car unit. Jadi data mentah tadi kita based on arahan teknik jalan 988, kemudian kita akan darat dengan contohnya untuk car kita akan darat dengan 1 ataupun 096 dan sebagainya lah. Okey, daripada result tersebut apa you nak kaitkan? Itu soalan saya. Yang you dapatkan dalam PCU passenger car unit, you kata high volume semua tu, low volume semua tu, apa you nak kaitkan? Okay, sepatutnya you dah ada jawapan tu, dah pampar kat situ, peak hours. Mana you nak dapatkan waktu puncak, pukul berapa, based on pada data tersebut. Itu jawapan je. Saya nak tahu kegunaan dia. Passenger car unit kita tukar kepada passenger car unit, kita akan dapat peak hours dia, waktu puncak dia. Okay. Bila kita dah consider dia sebagai satu unit, maknanya basikal bersama dengan lori bila kita darat dengan perkali tersebut. Sebab itu kita akan dapat untuk peak hours ataupun waktu puncak. Okay, waktu puncak di waktu pagi, tengah hari dan petang. Okay, itu jawapan dia saya nak. Okay, thank you very much for group 4.
Okay.
Last group.
Doctor, I want to ask the slide we need to hand in personally or by group?
Up to you.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Doctor.
Cuban suara 1, 2, 3. Boleh dengar Doktor?
Boleh.
Okay. Assalamualaikum and very good morning to our lecturer and our fellow friends. We are from Group 5 presenting about spot speed studies, the density and volume. Okay, for our first part, I will pass to Mas Nadira.
Volume studies is a transportation system is a dynamic system. Information about traffic must be regularly updated to keep pace with ever-changing transportation system. Traffic volume survey is important to determine the current condition and to predict the future condition of traffic volume. The term traffic volume study can be termed as traffic flow survey. It is defined as the procedure to determine mainly volume of traffic moving on the roads at a particular section during a particular time. Next. For the theoretical background, the traffic volume studies are conducted to determine the number, movement and classification of roadway vehicles at a given location. This data can help identify critical flow time period to determine the influence of large vehicles, pedestrians or vehicular traffic flow or document traffic volume trends. The traffic engineer focus on the peak hour traffic volume in evaluating capacity and other parameters because it represents the most critical time period. Next. Data on the traffic volume is essential in describing the hourly, daily or yearly number of vehicles as well as the vehicle composition. The capacity analysis for straight road section or intersection also rely on the traffic volume information, hence the traffic volume study is needed to be done. This is the key step and calculation. The method of conducting volume count is shown as below. Next.
Okay, now hello. Testing, boleh dengar tak? Hello?
Boleh.
Okay, sorry. Okay, density studies. Traffic density is the average number of vehicles that occupy 1 mile or 1 kilometer of road space expressed in vehicle less per mile or per kilometer. Apart from that, traffic density is a fundamental macroscopic characteristic of traffic flow and is used assessing traffic performance from the point of view from users and system operators. Also, density is an important measure of the quantity of traffic flow as it is measure of the proximity of other vehicles, a factor which influence freedom of maneuver and psychological comfort of drivers. Okay, now let's see the procedures of collecting the data. Data is selected from site of traffic, so we choose a specific site to collect the data. Next. Apart from that, we set up the preparation of smartphone, for example, Google Maps to record the coordinate compatible with Google Maps for easy presentation on Google Earth and comparison with the road section alignment. You can use timer for when the timer is used on smartphone, it must be synchronized up to 1 second accuracy to avoid errors. Time error between two smartphones was calibrated using the synchronization mobile application. Next. Okay, from the survey, if you conduct a survey using the density method, there are certain things that can take into consideration. For example, we use 2 cars with 2 drivers and 1 observed sitting with the lag car were used. So 2 4-wheel drivers, cars with high cabin were selected on this survey so that each car both can easily identify the driver of the other car. Okay, I think you can go to next. This is the example of the car they used for this one. Now we'll explain on the sport speed study.
In spot speed study is the distance traveled by speed is the distance traveled by user in a given time and play important part in the traffic movement. It is important to measure the quality level and safety of road network. Okay, spot speed is the instantaneous speed of a vehicle at a specific location. For the spot speed study, it is study of traffic speed at one point or spot on a traffic way. It consists of series or a sample of observation of the individual speed which vehicles are approaching on intersection or passing a point of non-intersection location. Next. In spot speed study, the data is gathered are used to determine the vehicle speed percentile that involved in many speed-related decisions. At least 30 sample size of vehicles at selected location will count. These are the method conducting spot speed study. Next.
Okay, next we go to literature review. Spot speed study is the study of individual speed of sample vehicles passing a given spot on a street or highway. The individual speed data are used to represent and estimate the overall traffic stream movement in that particular area or street or highway at a given time. Okay, next. The functionality of speed spot data is the traffic engineers mainly use the data to set up appropriate speed limit of roadways and highways. Next, they use the data also to specify proper design for appropriate sighting distance, speed highway relationships, and speed performance that affected to the steepness of road and its length grade. And finally, inspection and investigation of accident-focused spots that is suspected of speeding. Okay, next. Next is the data setting. The collected data for our case study is taken in Bersekutu. The key point measurement was taken into account was vehicle counts with specified speed class. It is important to select location based on the following criteria. First is speed trend locations. Does the road straight or level and open sections? Next is does the road or highways is problematic location, which means that does the location have a high accident rates or spots where traffic signals might be needed. Data was manually taken during non-peak hour and were used for documentation. Next. Selecting appropriate study plan. An important initial step is to identify the base factor of conducting the study and nature of the problem to be evaluated. Other consideration that shall be taken into account is the time frame of what are the date and time the study shall be completed and the amount of vehicles observed as part of the study. For assessing general spot speed trends or setting speed limits, off-peak is more appropriate. It is suggested that the speed data shall be assessed at a minimum of 1 hour with minimum counts of 30 vehicles, depending of the complexity of study, such that the sample size could be 1,000 vehicles over multiple days.
Next is what studies are needed in the area. The requirement for the study is to select a road outside the university.
No, Nadirah, volume slow. Boleh kuatkan lagi tak suara awak? Tak
Next
dengar.
is the problem statement.
Okay.
The spot speed studies are needed in the area for the community. The requirement for the study is to select a road outside the university campus and away from unusual traffic activity. Information about the selected section of the road are gathered, such as the speed, number of lanes, and the general description of the location. So this is the table that shows the data collected on a rural highway in Bersekutu.
Tiada suara. No sound.
Hello, tak apa. I will continue. Okay, just go on
Okay.
to the next slide.
Okay.
Next. So this is basically the data collected from our survey. Next slide, please. Okay, next. I'll explain the observation. This is the histogram chart. This is the frequency distribution table, the data. Next. Okay, this is the frequency distribution curve that we plot, the cumulative frequency. The statistical analysis, the mean speed and standard deviation, these are the formulas used to get on the main table. Next. Okay, so the observation, what we can observe from the graph just now, from the spot data collected via the spot speed study which has been conducted. Okay, for this overall case study, 30 vehicles is used to observe the speed. It is observed in kilometer per hour. The study was conducted in Bersekutu as stated earlier. The key point measurement was taken into account was vehicle counts with specified speed class. The speed observed was ranged between 55 up to 114 km per hour. That was the range of the 30 cars and segregated into 12 different observed frequencies, which was in the table earlier. From the histogram graph, is observed that the vehicle speed of 85 to 89 km per hour has the highest frequency, which is 5, while the 110 to 114 km per hour and 65 to 69 has the lowest frequency, which is just 1. Apart from that, the speed of 60 to 64 km has marked 0 as the observed frequency. A frequency distribution table has been constructed as well. From the frequency distribution curve, we are able to observe that the peak is at 16.99% for the speed of 85 to 89 km per hour for the middle, and that 85 to 89 km per hour, the middle speed which we took is the 87 km per hour. The graph declines to the lowest at 4.38% at the speed of 110 to 114 km per hour with the middle speed of 112 km per hour. That's actually the median. From the frequency cumulative curve, we are able to see the trend that is that gradually increases in the cumulative frequency as the speed increases. Yeah, I think that's all. Next slide.
So for discussion, for this spot speed study, we use a stopwatch method, which is the most cheap method, and this method is very suitable in using for a small sample size. So these are the key steps in using the stop. First of all, we have to acquire appropriate study length. Secondly, we have to obtain a proper location and layout that the observer can see clearly any reference post. Next, the observer should be positioned higher than the study area and be looking down. The position could be on a bridge or a roadway back slope. Reference points should be used in connecting the elapsed time. The fourth step is to record observations and calculate the vehicle speeds. Lastly, we generate a table and identify minimum speed, maximum speed, and also the speed range. This study has presented the basic concepts of speed studies. Spot speed studies are conducted to estimate the distribution of speeds of vehicle in the traffic stream at a particular position on highway. This is done by recording the speeds of vehicle at the specified location. These data are used to obtain speed characteristics such as mean speed, model pace, standard deviation, and different percentile of speeds. The important factors which should consider during plan of studies is the location of time and also the duration of study. The data sample collected should contain samples, which in our case study we use 30 samples. This gives precision and accuracy of results.
Okay, for conclusion, spot speed data is the collection of speed of all vehicles passing through that particular location. Speed are used for capacity analysis, geometric design, safety measure, speed trends, and assessment. Speed studies aid in the decision-making proceed and in before and after studies to assess the effectiveness of roadway modifications. Also, speed observation help to determine whether the roadway if it's need new law enforcement, management, or reconstruction. Last one, spot speed data have several safety applications, including the following: determine existing traffic operation and evaluation of traffic control devices, establishing roadway design element, and measuring effectiveness of traffic control device or traffic program, including sign, traffic operational change, and speed enforcement program.
Okay, thank you for. Dah habis dah? Finish lah?
Dah habis doktor, dah habis doktor.
Okay, thank you for group 5, your presentation today. Go to conclusion tadi. Slide conclusion. Slide conclusion. Okay, based on second point, speed are used for capacity analysis, geometry design, safety measures, speed trend, and assessment. Can you elaborate how to speed used in geometry design? Okay, just geometry design. Please elaborate and explain, okay, how to speed to use in geometry design. Alami, you present. You must be no. Alami, can you explain? This is your part. Conclusion. Can you elaborate how to speed to use in geometry design? You can give example.
Because I think design is control the design speed effect of the radius, stopping side, distance, super evaluation, and other features of horizontal curve, like that.
Can you give, for example, speed limit in curve? What speed limit in curve?
Speed limit in
curve. In Malay seleko, what it mean, Christopher? Kan boleh Malay seleko. Tapi English curve. Mungkin Alami tak faham curve tu apa. Kawasan seleko. Seleko you faham tak?
Faham. Yang corner tu apa ni?
Corner. Tapi dalam English memang curve. Mungkin Alami did not understand. Okay, any group you can give answer?
So doktor, soalan dia apa speed limit untuk curve
Speed limit saya nak tahu, speed limit kawasan curve.
Mostly dalam 20 km per hour. Kot rasanya.
20 km per hour based on standard, what standard?
Apa tu standard highway punya ni.
Okay, arahan teknik jalan 1988. Okay, thank you for this group, for last group.
Welcome doktor, thank you doktor.
Thank you doktor.
Okay, kesimpulannya, sebelum saya buat kesimpulan, conclusion, all your presentation today, please submit your slide to UKN Folio. Okay, by group Nanti di slide tu tulis your group bermula dengan turutan tadi lah. Okay. Based on group presentation. First group, second group, third group, last group yang kelima. Tulis di atas on your slide. Okay. Write your group. Boleh faham? Sebab slide tadi tak ada nama group. Sebab saya tak ada senaran nama. Saya dah bagi markah-markah mengikut kepada group 1, group 2, group 3 and group 4. Okay, nama tak ada. Jadi saya based on your slide, itulah nama nanti yang akan saya letakkan markah. Okay, saya nak tunjuk satu case study. Sebelum saya komen keseluruhan your presentation today untuk next group. Okay, saya nak tunjuk satu presentation untuk case study. Boleh nampak tak gambaran drive? Boleh nampak?
Nampak, Doktor.
Nampak, Doktor.
Okey, cuba you perhatikan sebelum saya komen. Okay, thank you. Okay, apa kesimpulan yang you boleh buat based on ada video tadi? Video yang saya tunjukkan tadi, can I show your video? This video sama juga dengan ya study group yang saya buat untuk 333. Okey, ini tapi dia real punya projek lah. Okey, untuk penutupan gate yang ketiga ataupun pintu yang ketiga di UKM. Jadi student-student yang buat real project di kawasan tersebut. Jadi perbezaan apa yang you buat persembahan dengan apa yang saya tunjuk tadi banyak ketara sangat yang saya nak nak komen berkenaan dengan presentation today. Okay, firstly bila sebut presentation seperti saya tunjuk tu pemarkahan dia reading, writing, listening, speaking and presentation tool. Okay. Saya tengok able to use technology in presentation hampir tak ada. Okay. Teknologi yang digunakan dibandingkan dengan apa yang saya dah tunjuk dalam video tadi. Okay, seterusnya dari segi bila kita sebut presentation ni biasanya sepatutnya onkan your video tapi seorang pun yang tak onkan video. 50 student yang ada bila present tidak onkan video. Jadi di situ pun ada pemarkahan dari segi punctual, dari segi language awak, dari segi body awak semua tu saya akan tengoklah pemakaian semua. Okay. Tapi seorang pun tidak membuka ataupun tidak onkan your video semasa presentation. Untuk lain-lain tu tak apalah lah, you nak buka tak nak buka. Okay. Tapi masa presentation itu dah adab dia, dah menjadi suatu protokol bila present kena onkan video. Okay. Seorang pun tidak onkan video. Itu first komen saya. Okay. Jadi dia kat situ saya tak tahu siapa yang present. Just ada nama. Nama pun tak betul. Okay. Ada nama OG Amphion. Saya ingat pun daripada Afrika mana. Okay. OG ni. Okay. Jadi OG ni kena-kenanya bila bercakap tu rasanya masih Melayu lah. Bukan peron Afrika lah. Biasa OG ni daripada Afrika lah. Okay, jadi kena onkan video lain kali bolehlah saya mengenali bila presentation tersebut. Baik, itu salah satu kriteria dalam presentation perlu ditengok. Okey, yang seterusnya dari segi masa diperlukan 20 minit. Jadi bila 20 minit ni you must be masa yang paling kritikal. 20 minit dengan 10 orang pelajar walaupun tidak semuanya membuat persembahan tetapi perlu kena agihkan masa 20 minit tersebut. Okay. Bila 20 minit ni tak perlulah you nak showkan your yang mini apa makna declaration speech sport speech study. Sebab itu kita tak ada masa dah untuk melihat perkara-perkara secara teori je. Okay. Sebab inilah case study. Bila case study tu you direct masuk kepada result dan sebagainya. Okay. Dengan gambar, sebaik-baiknya tunjuk dengan gambar, dengan apa yang you buat based on calculation dan sebagainya. Calculation pun dalam table tu banyak table. Ada yang table decrease, increase dan sebagainya. Just tunjuk yang paling tinggi dan yang paling rendah. Okay. Jadi kena bahagikan masa tu betul-betul dalam 20 minit. Okay. Sebab saya memang saya dah stresskan tadi 20 minit saya dah tengok macam mana you agihkan masa-masa tersebut. Okay. Ini untuk presentation lah untuk akan datang. Ya ini. Okay, dan seterusnya dari segi data-data ada yang data 2008 sekarang ini dah 2020. Okay. Sepatutnya data-data yang terkini dalam internet dah banyak saya tengok 2020 pun. Okay, 21 pun dah ada. Jika jurnal 22, 23 pun dah ada jurnal sekarang ni. Okay. Jadi awak masih lagi menggunakan data 2008. Jauh beza tu. Okay. Jauh beza. Jika jurnal kita dah ada 2003, 2005 pun dah ada jurnal-jurnal yang terkini. Okey, dan begitu juga dari segi sport speed study, contohnya ambil location dia di dataran cendekiawan UiTM. Tapi pitch yang saya tengok, pitch yang bukan di dataran cendekiawan UiTM. Okay. Tidak selari dengan gambar dan apa yang awak ceritakan. Okey, dan seterusnya literature review. Literature review pun tiada citation. no citation for literature review. Tidak dicatatkan citation. Bila sebut literature review, formatting dia dalam kepala saya perlu adanya citation ataupun rujukan, references. Must be to you put citation bila literature review. Itu dah formatting dalam akademik. Apa lagi? Itu je komen saya yang boleh saya beri dan jadi itulah. Jadi nanti hantar slide melalui UKM Folio. Saya pun dah lupa saya sama ada saya dah create untuk submitted ataupun tak lagi file tersebut. Kalau saya tak create lagi, tolong beritahulah. Saya akan create untuk submitted nanti. Jadi tulis nama grup, ikut grup-grup sebab pemarkahan pada saya ni ikut nama grup, bukan ikut nama-nama ahli. Sebab saya tak dapatkan nama ahli tersebut. Jadi kita akan jumpa untuk second presentation untuk Fleets Classroom yang bertopik intersection design, type and principle for a great intersection. 27/4 nanti. Saya harap this group boleh berubahlah apa yang saya komen tadi, boleh ditengok balik dan saya dah tunjuk satu kajian yang betul-betul yang agak berkesan macam mana dibuat oleh student-student yang sebelum ini. Real punya projek. Tak semestinya video. Awak present cara apa semua present tu. Dalam 20 minit tu kena berfakta lah. Tak perlu dah lagi nak definasi teori-teori tersebut. Any question? Ada apa nak tanya ataupun tidak puas hati dengan presentation tadi? Ada komen saya? Nak bangkang ke? Tak setuju?
Tak ada doktor, kita terima.
Yang lain-lain? Ada apa nak komen?
Tak ada doktor.
Jadi itulah untuk kebaikan awak untuk presentation sebab awak masih lagi panjang kat sini. Jadi kena ubahlah apa yang saya komen tersebut. Banyak lagi presentation yang akan anda lakukan. Terutama selepas ini ada IDP, Integrated Development Project, kemudian adanya FIP, Final Years Project yang anda akan menghadapi dengan presentation. Dan dalam bidang kejuruteraan pun, bila awak keluar nanti, inilah macam makanan awak lah kat luar nanti. Sentiasa kena showkan your progress working, progress kerja dan sebagainya, present progress kerja tiap-tiap minggu atau tiap bulan. Jadi you kena pandailah menggunakan segala apa yang telah dibelajar di sini. Sebab tu saya komen tu saya based on pada pengalaman saya di site sebelum saya masuk mengajar. Jadi setiap bulan ataupun setiap minggu kena buat presentation based on progress kerja di tapak bina. Sebab saya perlu claim kena buat report, kemudian kena showkan kepada konsultan. Jadi itulah maknanya kena menjawab dan sebagainya. Itu pengalaman saya lah masa di tapak bina dahulu. Kalau tak ada apa dan kita jumpa untuk minggu depan dan saya harap kumpulan yang seterusnya boleh ambil apa yang saya komen tadi untuk perbaikan yang lebih baik. Thank you very much for your presentation today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat tengah hari. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.